Hey guys, I want to start this live stream by reading part of the Declaration of Independence because I think it's very important that we understand something about our own human nature. Me, you, everybody on this planet. Doesn't matter if you're American, Canadian, Mexican, from Great Britain. It doesn't matter where you're from. It says, prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes. When I see the word government, I there's a synonym to government to me. That's slavery. Governments are slavery. Government literally means mind control. Governo and mentis, to control the mind. So if somebody wants to control you in any way, whether they want to control your mind or your body, as in slavery, that's why I look at government as slavery. So a lot of the Declaration of Independence I have a huge issue with, because what they're basically saying is we want to throw off chains so that we can pick up new chains. And what always happens is no matter what government you set up, it ends up coming around, and it may seem kind at first. You're getting beat with fewer lashes. You're in the doghouse less. You have a little bit more freedoms. There's more freedom of movement. There's less restrictions, but it always ends up in a tyrannical, communistic, or socialist dictatorship. That's how it ends. And masses of people start dying. Because one thing the government does, people and agents of government, because government is just people, right? But it's a person who believes they have a higher claim over your life and property than you. A person who believes they can initiate unjust force and violence on you, you being a peaceful person, simply because somebody else disobeyed that psychopath's laws. An agent of government issues a command. You don't obey it. They believe they have the moral right to punish you. Because they also believe, they're so messed up in their mind, they believe that you have the moral obligation to obey them or be punished. That's the problem with government. So I don't buy into everything. There are nuggets of truth we have to glean. There are kernels that you have to pick out of the crap sometimes, And I think this is one of them right here. After this sentence, it says, and accordingly, all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable. And that's what psychopaths and social engineers understand about the human psyche. They can tolerate certain suffering. Us giving them just a little bit of freedom while we're bleeding them as tax cattle, while we're generating revenue from them, while we're increasing restrictions on them, which makes us more money and transfers more power from the people to the psychopaths. Mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms of government. Sorry, the implication there is forms of government, but by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. So they get accustomed. It's the frog boiling in the water. He hops into the water. It's cold. Oh, it feels pretty good. You turn it up on him. He's like, oh, jacuzzi time. Turn it up a little bit more. Oh, man, this is really therapeutic. Turn it up a little bit more. He's boiling, and he's not going to last very long. He's dead. He's floating in the water. He's a dead frog. But he was more disposed to suffer while evils were sufferable. He was more disposed to suffer while that heat was turning up on him. And as a matter of fact, he kind of enjoyed it. There are a lot of people who enjoy their slavery. What did Voltaire say? He said, it's hard to get a fool to abandon or despise the chains they revere. It's hard to get a fool to despise the chains he reveres. There are people who revere their chains. There are people who are crazy comfortable with their slavery. And there are people like in Washington State, #LockUsDown, who want more government intervention to keep them more safe. They want a nanny state. They want to be told what to do, what to buy, how much they should pay for certain things, who's going to issue their currency. They want that. And that is the major problem. That's why I titled this video the way I did. That's the major problem with this world is not the psychopaths. It's not the Adolf Hitlers or the Joseph Stalins or the Mao Zedongs or the Mussolinis of this world. It's the people who abdicated their own self-governance to just give it up to a man. It's never right to do that. That's why I've been pulling my hair out. And I mean, like, I hope this right here, I'm going to blow this up for you so you can see this. I hope this is the beginnings of good things, because I don't even know what to think about the Q crowd after the $6.2 trillion raping that we just endured by Trump. But I just saw this tweet by SGT Report. He said 3 hours ago, I'm pretty angry about what's going on. He wasn't specific, but I think I know what he's talking about after I read this next part. And a bit shocked by the cognitive dissonance, or is it organized psych warfare, of, quote, trusting the plan. And then he says, so I'm not sure how awesome the show is going to be. He's talking about a show that he's about to go on. So it sounds like he's having a change of heart. But this is what a lot of us have been trying to tell the SGT reports and the X22 reports and the QAnons and the people who follow Trump. This is what we've been trying to tell them. And I wrote back, I hope and I have no ill will against SGT report. People think I came out and attacked him when I was in Virginia, but I was sick of hailing authoritarianism. When are we going to get to the point where we no longer are more disposed to suffer while these evils are sufferable? It's closing in on us with each and every day, and it's accelerating now. Trump it's not $2 trillion. I don't know why people keep saying $2 trillion. It's $6.2 trillion. $350 billion of that goes to the people. Oh, thanks for the breadcrumbs. A $4.2 trillion is literally going to the bankers and the corporations who've overextended themselves in the bond market. This is a bailout. It's not stimulus for the people. It's a corporate bailout for CEOs who took on too much risk so they could pad their own pockets and their fellow executives and their board members and their stockholders. And then they got out of there in January. 219 of them, boom, gone. Top CEOs of top major companies, including Microsoft's Bill Gates, gone. At the top before the bottom fell out and the 33% slaughtering, the bloodbath ensued in the stock market. So, I mean, people are always saying, there's no hope. We're finished. We're done. I can't let my mind go there because it's almost like that's crazy land. And I may be hoping against hope, but that's fine. Just leave me be. I tend toward naivety anyway. That's just my personality. Is I just hope that people, and Trish is smiling over there because she knows it's true. I mean, I can be real stupid sometimes and just totally believe people. It's a struggle for me to do this channel because I am easily caught in the trap of cognitive dissonance. Just to let you know, I'm easily taken in, I want to believe the good in people, but I see that I can't. So I have to struggle with my own cognitive dissonance every single day. Because I want people to come to the knowledge of the truth so that they can see, so that we can actually do something. We can actually put feet and action to these words that we keep speaking. So I wrote back, I said, I hope SGT Reports is as angry as we've been while we warned him and those who promote Q to stop ushering in this totalitarian Zionist regime through Trump. Don't pin your hopes on a guy. Don't pin your hopes on a woman. Don't check yourself into the cults of personality. Stop drinking the Kool-Aid. Put it down and slap the Kool-Aid out of everybody else's hand. When I was in Virginia, people were saying I was attacking Sean. I'm not attacking Sean. I'm trying to slap the Kool-Aid out of his hand because I care about him. And I think he has a big, huge platform with a great, mighty voice that he could be using for something other than bowing down to Trump. Because let's face it, when you bow down to Trump, you're bowing down to the bankers. In 1990, he was bailed out. We're talking about a guy. Trump was literally bailed out by Rothschild's Inc. Even Forbes magazine, Wall Street. It's known. This isn't something you got to dig for. Just type in on the internet. To open a window right now while I'm talking, do a Google search. Trump bailed out by Rothschild's Inc. They bailed him out from the Taj Mahal. He overextended himself. The bankers got him by the balls. He's in their back pocket. He's in the club. He owes them. They're more powerful than him. The person who bails you out is the one who's more powerful than you. And they're like, oh, Trump co-opted the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve has been nationalized and now Trump's the head of the Federal Reserve. No, that's not true. He may operate as the front man now, the supreme leader of the world or whatever. But there are always guys behind the curtain that are going to be bigger and badder and bolder and richer and have deeper pockets than the guy in the front of the curtain. The guy on the stage that the lights are shining down on, that appears before the audience, that's not the lever master. That's not the, he may be a power that shouldn't be, but he's just a puppet power that shouldn't be. So while they said trust the plan, we argue the plan is wrecking America. $6.2 trillion later, here we are. We must unite or we're done. I want to unite with Sean from SGT Report, but we got to be on the same page. We got to be of the mind. All we have to agree with is nobody has a higher claim over your life and property than you. Nobody has the right to initiate unjust force and violence on peaceful people who haven't done anything wrong. And the golden rule: do to others what you would want done to you. Does that mean we don't defend our families when somebody comes in because he believes in the non-aggression principle? He's just going to let his girlfriend get raped and his kids get blown away. No. The non-aggression principle is you're not the initiator of the aggression. You are perfectly within your right, your natural right to defend yourself and your family and your children and your friends and everybody in your zone of influence. That's why most people who are freedom-minded carry a personal protection device, if you know what I mean. I'm not going to talk about it here on the live stream because they look down about that on that, and you can get a community guideline strike. But you know what I'm talking about. The reason I carry a personal protection device is not just so that I can protect myself, not just so I can protect my family, but so that I can reach out and extend my power, because that's what it is. When you have a personal protection device, you have exponentially increased your power. As a matter of fact, in this society, when you walk into a room with a personal protection device, you are the man or the woman. You have all power, but that power is in the hands of a good person. A good person who aims to do that which is good with a device that other people deem as deadly. That's what it's all about. That's why you want a personal protection device, because you care about people. And you know that there are bad people who need to be brought down at certain times. And why not just have it so that if you don't need it, it's no big deal. But if you need it, you got it. That's your power. You want to empower women? You want to empower... Well, I can't say this because then I'd be promoting, arming minors. You want to empower women. You want to empower your girlfriend. You want to empower your wife, your mom, your grandmother. Buy her a personal protection device and a whole bunch of ammo, and show her how to use that thing. Show her how to defend herself. Show her how to defend her loved ones when you're not there. That's power. That is verifiable, objective power. I didn't mean to get off and talk on this, but Sean from SGT Report seems like a likable guy. But when you promote Trump, you're promoting the international bankers that you're also saying you hate. So I see it's a mind F when he says he's a bit shocked by the cognitive dissonance. Well, Sean, if you're watching this video, that's the cognitive dissonance that I and many others have been trying to warn you that you seem to be cemented in, or at least quicksanded in. I hope this right here is the tip of a giant avalanche that's about to be unleashed in the freedom movement. Because honestly, guys, if we don't see some sort of movement and people going, oh yeah, okay, Q steered us wrong. Oh yeah, we shouldn't be trusting the plan that there are good guys in government going to weed out the bad guys in government. If people aren't coming around to that, we're pretty much sunk. Because if we don't stand together, we will hang separately. If we stand, can you imagine if you had a cohesive, united community against this crap? United businesses going, sorry, Mayor. Nope, not sorry, Mayor. We're not shutting our businesses. Other towns may be going down. Other towns may be experiencing economic collapse, but I'm not closing my shop because I don't believe the COVID-19 lie. I don't believe that, even according to the CDC's own numbers, influenza is far more deadly and virulent than this new strain. Matter of fact, this new strain seems very weak, which leads me to this. Have you guys been seeing these videos right here? This guy right here is in New York. Somebody encouraged me to do this, and I think I will do this tomorrow. Head on up to your local hospital and find out what's going on there. Find out, is it packed? Listen to this. Listen to this guy. We're just going to listen to about a minute of this. Let me get into the chat room, see if I'm even on. Hey guys, I will deal with the. I'll deal with. I'll tell you what. Let me do some super chats right now. Hey Brian, I wish Bam Bam Niner. I wish more people were aware of what's going on. Check into the Florida borders, having virus checkpoints as we speak. There you go, right there. Let me finish this. I don't want to be so scattered. Okay, I'm glad you said that, Bam Bam Niner, because I want to deal with that. Thank you guys for joining. Loud and clear. Thanks, Bob. Hey, Laundromat, Rebecca, Clan, Blazer, your friendly neighborhood dealer. Thank you, guys. Prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes. I contend that they shouldn't be planted in the first place, especially not a centralized authority. Guys, don't you think we can do without Washington's District of Criminals wasting all of our money, issuing massive restrictions to the point where we have 20,000 freaking federal gun laws and gun-free zones and the IRS and the Federal Reserve? Don't you think we could do better than that? Do you think there's any chance at all that without a federal bureaucracy, we would even be close to $24 trillion in debt? Oh, sorry, add $6.2 trillion to that. Now we're $30 trillion. Oh, I forgot there's unfunded liability. Go to 150 to 100, 130 to 150 trillion when you count Social Security and Medicare, those promises for future payment that aren't there, by the way. Do you think for 1 second that a free people could possibly get into hundreds of trillions of dollars worth of debt or even $1 trillion worth of debt? Let me remind you, and I know I keep saying this, and I hope it's not getting old for you, but 1 trillion seconds is 31,706 years. You heard me right. 1 trillion seconds is almost 32,000 years. And so when these politicians, these parasites, get up there and glibly talk about $1 trillion there and $2 trillion there and $6.2 trillion here, that's mind-numbing. No mortal can wrap his head around 1 trillion seconds being 32,000 freaking years. Nobody who's honest with you is going to tell you, oh yeah, I can totally comprehend that. They never used to talk about trillions. Now they do. Why? Because they keep pushing the envelope and they keep tightening the screws and they keep shoring up your shackles and your chains and making you slaves, making me a slave. You want to show me you love me, Nancy Pelosi? Then push for getting rid of the IRS. And then I will know that you may have a glimmer of like for me. But until you even make a move toward that, go on about your business and leave your business out of my business. Accordingly, all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable. We see that all the time, than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, don't you think we're seeing that right now? A long train of abuses and usurpations. Okay, shut down the hair salons, shut down the coffee shops, shut down the restaurants. You can only do carry out. We're going to come door to door. Have you been vaccinated? Bill Gates is going, we need a certificate before you can travel. Don't you think that counts as a long train of abuses and usurpations? Oh, I'm going to $6 trillion worth of debt. We're going to give you a pittance. Wait for your $1,200. $1,200? People are literally shuddering right now in their houses, wondering how they're going to feed their families. I would say that's a long train of abuses and usurpations. Pursuing invariably the same object evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, and that is what I wanted to get at. That is the goal. This whole thing with COVID-19, whether it's a biological weapon or whether it's regular flu or whether it's been activated by 5G or solar radiation or whatever it is, it does not give a human being another human being right to abuse his fellow man and lock up his fellow man and quarantine against his will a fellow man and show me your papers, fellow man. And you can't board this aircraft and you got to get your vaccine, and then just lying to people 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, just lying. That's all you're hearing. What a freaking messed up world, man. So back to this guy. He's in New York City. And he's walking downtown and he's about to ask this cop, hey, ask him some things about Hey, what's been going on? A lot of ambulances. Do you see anything? He goes to the hospital, sees nothing but a bunch of ambulances parked outside with people. Nobody's doing anything. They got nothing to do. They're not busy. There's no rush. There's no stockpiling of truckloads of ventilators and masks coming in. Watch this.
Excuse me, officer. How can I get to Presbyterian Hospital?
Take a right and straight up down.
Straight up that way?
Right, straight here on the right hand side.
Have there been a lot of ambulances coming through with coronavirus victims?
I actually am not at liberty to say that.
Don't you think if there was, the cop would be like, yeah, the place is crawling with them. I mean, we can't even keep up. The traffic's so bad. Ambulances are coming in. Patients are getting dropped off. People are dying everywhere. They got to bring in box cars full of body bags because people are dying. That's how they make it sound. It's like, oh my God, holy crap. I think the neighborhood's going to die. You got coronavirus. They act like it is the most aggressive, virulent strain of anything the planet has ever seen. And as soon as it touches you, you got 24 hours. You might as well go ahead and start making your will. You're dead. That's what they're making it sound like. It's amazing.
So maybe we'll get a chance to speak to some hospital employees. This guy's got blue gloves on. I would normally think that means he works for the hospital, but
so he's heading toward this
sure.
hospital right here. I'm gonna fast forward it, but a lot of people are doing this. Here he meets a nurse or a doctor or something up on the road.
Hi, are you doing selfies on here? Are you what's this? Are you with the media?
I just have my own YouTube channel. Do you work at the hospital?
No, I'm just inquiring yes, I do, but I'm just inquiring on what you're doing.
This is for my YouTube channel called Crowdsource the Truth. Have you been overrun with coronavirus patients?
Not as of yet.
Are you surprised by that?
No, we're doing well.
I mean, are you a hospital administrator?
Hey, one of my admins, can you go to Crowdsource the Truth and drop his link? I want to give him some props and credit here. And if you guys go to his channel, tell him High Impact Vlog sent you.
Yeah.
Okay. That's another thing I liked about President Trump's announcement is that we're doing a fantastic job, doing very well, very well. So let's see. Are you guys waiting here to visit coronavirus patients? Nobody wants to talk. So here's all the ambulances here, and we've got some people standing around.
Look at this. Look at this.
See if we can find an ambulance driver.
Just
I don't know, that's a lot of
everywhere.
ambulances parked here for there to be a citywide pandemic going on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 ambulances parked.
Seriously, guys, in New York, Cuomo makes it sound like it's horrible. Look at this. I saw New York Times and Washington Post put out some videos today, too. Let me see. Let's see. I should have pulled this up before I went live. They make it look the exact opposite. Let's see. Where's that one I saw this morning? Shoot. Coronavirus cases in the U.S. exceed 100,000. But they're going through hospitals, and it looks horrible.
The great enemy of writing isn't your...
With the latest developments in the coronavirus, there are now more than 100,000 confirmed cases of the coronavirus here in the U.S., the most infections in any country in the world. But headway is being made against the disease and its effects.
On Friday, the FDA cleared the epicenter of cases here in the United States with more than 46,000. Tom Hansen is at Elmhurst Hospital in Queens. Tom, good morning.
Is anybody in the chat room near Elmhurst Hospital? Anybody have quick access to Elmhurst? Because what I'm seeing is there are just video vloggers just walking to their hospital, and it's no big deal. Business as usual. Nobody's running around freaking out, have masks on, coronavirus patients, people lining the hallways, but you see it all the time on the news. I'm not saying that those aren't real cases, but gosh, it sure makes you question when just a regular person who's not with the media starts recording things. You get a completely different story.
Good morning, Dana and Jeff. Well, just behind me, nearly 24 people have already lined up to get tested for COVID-19.
You know what I always think when I see a news article like this, a news story like this? I think, okay, before they roll the camera, did they have these guys just standing there, these people in the background? Are they just like, are they props? Are they just standing there, just extras like in a movie set?
Elmhurst Hospital here in Queens.
Rosa says Elmhurst just sounds bad. It does, man. It sounds like something in a Friday the 13th movie or something.
Of the epicenter,
I'll tell you what, let me just pause this. I'm looking in the chat right now. The hospitals in your, okay, so there's one. Let me ask you guys, let's try to stay on this right here. The hospitals in your area, are they busy? Somebody just said, let's see, somebody just said their hospital's not busy. I'm in Western New York State and the hospitals are not even close to overcrowded, says Michael. How about other guys, other guys and gals in the room? No. Player says no. Freethinker not busy in Queens. Jose says no. Sacred Teaching says no call-ins. Marcella says empty. Affiliate Pro no. Dread Assembly no. I'm seeing a lot of no's. Anybody who sees their hospital that's just crawling with people and it's jam-packed. Wagon Breath says, nope, my MIL is a nurse and mother-in-law is a nurse and they have them cleaning due to nothing going on. Wow. No sirens in New York, unreal, says Wild Horse. Gary says, nope. Mine are not busy in Canton, Arkansas, Canton, Akron, Ohio, says Jed. UAB and Bama, nope. Houston, Texas, empty. Interesting. Anybody near a hospital that is busy? Homegrown USA says our hospitals are not crowded. Only 1 death in 6 local hospitals as of yesterday, Pennsylvania. Wow. I'm gonna have to look back on this. Okay, so basically, I'm not gonna go through this anymore. But somebody. Props to Crowdsource the Truth for going out there. Let's watch another minute of his because he gets a hold of an ambulance driver and he asks him some questions. It's pretty interesting dialogue.
I don't see any coronavirus victims in here. Hey, have you guys been dealing with a lot of coronavirus victims? Have you been dealing with a lot of coronavirus victims?
Yeah, I just came back to work, so I have.
What have you heard from the other ambulance people, EMTs? Not a lot of...
I haven't spoken to anybody. I literally just started.
But wouldn't you know if it was overrun right now by a...
The answer is yes, he would know. This guy is so laid back. It's just another day on the job. No, he's not frazzled about anything. He's not in a hurry. He's just kind of moseying along. Man, I'm just going in. There's no real emergency. Nothing like Cuomo's making it sound. Nothing like Fauci's making it sound. Nothing like anybody is making it sound on mainstream media. Look how laid back this guy is. He doesn't even know what's going on or why he's being questioned. I mean, surely, and here's what I have to say about this. All you health professionals that work in the hospitals, don't you watch the news? Don't you see how they're reporting it? Aren't you thinking, what the hell are they reporting like this for? My hospital's not going through this. Interesting.
Viral pandemic, you're working the EMT stuff.
I don't even know if I can answer that.
This guy's
I mean, you personally have not seen, you walk in there's not a glut of people dying from coronavirus. I spoke to a guy 2 days ago who told me that he felt that black people are not susceptible to coronavirus. Do you think there's any truth to that?
I don't know.
But could it be possible from a medical
You gotta like this guy. He's got a real good spirit and a demeanor about him, doesn't he?
standpoint, things like sickle cell anemia really generally only affect black people, right?
I have no idea.
I appreciate you talking to me. Be safe. Have a good day.
Look at this guy smile. He ain't worried about anything. No pandemic going on at all in this guy's mind. We're getting a completely different story when people who don't have something to benefit turn on the camera and find out what's really going on. But when somebody does have something to benefit, when they do have an agenda to promote, when they do have a narrative they want to shove down your throat, well, then it's a different story. Now you got people walking all around. They're in their hazmat garb and everything's just all crazy. And we need 30,000 ventilators. What are you going to say about the 26,000 people when, Cuomo doesn't even know how to do math? You've only sent us 400. What are we going to do with those? You tell the 26,000 people that they're going to die. Amazing. I'm not saying that people aren't getting sick, YouTube. I'm not saying people aren't dying, but it sure does seem like a Completely different story when an independent journalist goes out there recording hospitals, and then when mainstream media journalists go out there, journalists in quotes. All right, so let's go ahead and segue here. Let me just see. What's up, Jeff? Jeff is here, audits. 10th man, what's up? It's all about vaccines and the upcoming economic collapse. It really is. It really is. It really is. The reason I entitled this right here is what's wrong with our world is because this guy right here has gotten so much freaking heat. I'm not for any politician. I'm not for Thomas Massey. I'm not for Donald Trump. I'm not for Elizabeth Warren. I'm not for any political parasite. But when somebody does something that's right, when somebody says something that's right, when somebody's standing against that which is wrong, you gotta highlight it because it just seems like the right thing to do. So this guy, Thomas Massey from Kentucky, got ripped one side and down the other by John Kerry, by Donald Trump, and you're going to see those tweets in a second. If you haven't seen them already, they're worth looking at. And the reason I wanted to bring this out is because InfoWars reported on this, and I was like, what? InfoWars is totally in the back pocket of the Zionist international banking cartel, and so they're going to back their man Trump. So why are they saying positive things about Thomas Massey? And I was like, scratching my head, and I told Trish about it. I was like, you're not going to believe InfoWars, who's for Donald Trump, is actually saying good things about Thomas Massey. What's going on here? So I started reading this, and I was reading this article, and I was going, what? The key point, President Trump threw a fit, they said. This is from InfoWars. I was like, President Trump threw a fit. They wouldn't want President Trump to see that because President Trump and Alex Jones are on good terms. Trump flat out lied and claimed Massey is aiding the Democrats. I'm like, wait a second. Who wrote this article? And so I go up, and it's from this guy named Chris Menahan from Information Liberation. So what InfoWars did was, and we know InfoWars is pro-Trump. We know InfoWars, which makes him pro-Federal Reserve. If you're for Trump, you're for the 6.2 trillion. If you're against the 6.2 trillion, at this point, you are against Trump. You can't be forced the 6.2 trillion corporate bailout, and that's what it was, corporate banking bailout. It wasn't stimulus. Get that out of your mind. That's not what it was all about. Corporations were leveraged because they overreached in the bond market. They leveraged themselves to pad their own pockets and their shareholders. So the collapse was coming. And the cover story is COVID-19. So now we got to shut the economy down and because the stock market's the bubble's going to burst, and we need a cover story for the bubble bursting. We can't say that the corporations over leveraged themselves in the bond market. That wouldn't look good. And we got to bail them out, but we can't tell the people, well, we're going to do an Obama era bailout like they did with the banks, with Lehman Brothers and all them. So we got to use this coronavirus stimulus package. That's the way we're going to get this bailout going through. Because the people will completely uprise if we throw some trillions of dollars to the corporations who haven't had any kind of discretion in their spending, haven't really even been building their businesses. They've just been over leveraging themselves, getting themselves deeper and deeper into debt and growing their corporate bond bubble. So we got to bail them out, but we can't let the American people know it. And we have to extract the revenue from the tax cattle. So let's give them $1,200. Let's give them $3,000. Let's give them some money and shut them up and use that as a diversion so we can help our corporate and banking buddies. That is what's going on, guys. And Thomas Massey right here called BS. He called BS on the whole thing. And then he gets grief from John Kerry and Elizabeth Warren, and everybody, including Donald Trump, comes out against him because he took a freaking constitutional stand. And so what's wrong with this world? Let me get this. I didn't know the whole thing wasn't showing. Let me get this all in there for you. Shoot, I didn't know it was all cut off. There we go. It says Representative Thomas Massey. I'm not even going to read it from InfoWars. I didn't realize they copied off this guy and they just regurgitated news. They put this on their. This is another thing about hypocrisy. I cannot stand. I can't stand hypocrisy. Look, if you're principled, you're not a hypocrite. You are who you are. You may make mistakes. You may get things wrong. You may be in error sometimes, but you're correctable because your only agenda is truth. Your only agenda is doing the right thing. and not pushing people's buttons and not just, trying to start an argument, but really trying to get to the bottom of what's going on here. I don't know all of what's going on with COVID-19, but I do know one thing. There's a virus far more virulent, far more infectious, and far more deadly than COVID-19. It's the virus called government. It always has been. There's no way a virus could take out. You've heard that thing, a lie makes its way halfway around the world before the truth has time to get its pants on. Well, the government makes its destructive path around the world before any virus could get its pants on. The government is far more deadly because they leverage control, they consolidate power, and they centralize oligarchies and authoritarianism and totalitarianism to put their boot on your neck, to make you do things so that you're a slave all your life. And when you go to work, a certain percentage of what you work for doesn't come back to your house, doesn't go into your kids' bellies, doesn't go toward putting a roof over their heads. It goes to the IRS, who gives it to the political parasites who start the cycle all over again so they can create more laws and make you more enslaved and take more of your wealth. They just hook you up, man. And then the deceptive, hypocritical, conniving part about it is they're saying they're doing it for your benefit. We're here to help you. We're here to protect you from coronavirus. But you got to give up some of your rights. You got to let us lock you in for 2 weeks. You got to close down your business, or we're going to ostracize you, or we're going to cut off your power, or we're going to cut off your water, or we're going to remove you from your business, or we're going to throw your asses in jail, or we're going to fine you. But we'll keep you safe. No. Nope. If you give away a little essential liberty so that you can get that politically promised government security, you don't deserve liberty or security. I totally believe that. If you're stupid enough, gullible enough, naive enough to give away your liberty so that somebody can take care of you, so Big Daddy government can come in and just cradle you from here to the grave, cradle to the grave. We'll take care of you. Don't worry. We got you. You don't deserve liberty or security. I'm going to go to am I wrong? Am I wrong? Yeah, shame on sheeple, says Troy. Shame on sheeple. And to some extent, we're all like sheep-like. You know what I mean? But we can become like lions if we unite. And that's why I hate mainstream media and government, because they're there to specifically there to get under your skin, to get in your brain and distract you and deceive you and divide you. Therefore, they can conquer you. A united people cannot be conquered, you guys. Cannot be conquered. If you're all on the same page, you can't be conquered. Because you all move as one. You're reading off the same page. It doesn't mean we have to agree about everything, but there are certain things that we will agree on. I will never steal your stuff, and I know if you're an upright person, you'll never steal my stuff. I will never harm you or your children or your wife or your grandparents, and I know you'll do the same for you. You wouldn't harm anybody that I love. And I know if I'm in trouble, we're on the same page, and we're thinking about the same things, and we hold liberty as high as the other person, you're going to have my 6, and I'm going to have your 6. You get in trouble, I'm there for you. I get in trouble, you're there for me. That's how a functioning, cohesive, united society operates, but we can't operate like that right now on a national level. I wonder if we could even, out of 327 or 330 million people in this country, I wonder if we could even scrape up 1 million people that just, no way, I ain't giving up 1 damn ounce of my liberty. You can shove your security, you can shove your stimulus up where the sun don't shine. I don't care where you stick it. I don't want it. I don't want anything that comes from you. Where are those people? Well, here's one right here. Thomas Massey. And he got nothing but hell from everybody. Everybody was on the bandwagon. Just give the $6.2 million to the corporate oligarchs. Just give it to the bankers. Yeah, just give it to your enemy. Why don't you just give the whole kit and caboodle to the enemy? That's just what happened. So I'm not going to read it from InfoWars, but I do want to point out that InfoWars posted this entire thing with all the all the comments from this guy's website So I'm going to read from Information Liberation. I'm not going to go over all this, but I want to show you some very interesting points from Thomas Massie. You want to see a guy who's got balls? Thomas Massie has some freaking balls. And what's so funny is people are so in the tank for Trump. And these are the people who say they're for the Constitution. This is what really kills me. People who say they're for freedom, truth, the American way, for the Constitution, pledge allegiance to the flag, or the land of the free, home of the brave. Yeah, rah, 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 zis, boom, bah, suki, udi, udi, whatever. Going to those games, just being all patriotic. Yeah, go Trump. And then the guy who epitomizes the very thing that you put your hand over your heart and pledge to the flag that you're patriotic, the guy who puts feet on what you verbalize is condemned by the very people who put their hand over their heart and pledge allegiance to the flag, which is nonsense, by the way. Bellamy was a complete socialist. It's like a socialist mantra. I pledge allegiance to the flag. Oh, really? Allegiance to the flag? How about allegiance to the truth, period? I don't need to put allegiance anywhere else. What if the flag goes against the truth? You going to have your allegiance on the flag? Screw that, man. Nationalism is how you get a whole bunch of people throwing people in concentration camps and burning their eyes out with chlorine gas. That's nationalism. How about truthism? Let's do truthism. All right. Let's just read some of this. Let me make sure that everything's in frame for you so you can read along with me, because it's very important that we go over this. Representative Thomas Massie stands up for the Constitution. Trump calls for him to be thrown out of GOP. That would be a good thing. Getting thrown out of the RNC, the GOP, the DNC, they're all two wings of the same bird of prey. They're there to tear you up. The stimulus should go straight to the people rather than be. There shouldn't. First of all, there are a couple things I disagree with Thomas Massie, but the principle is sound. Okay, the underlying principle is sound. The stimulus. There shouldn't be a stimulus, period. Okay, there shouldn't be government handouts, but here we are. Okay, so given what we've already got, we got to deal with the hand we're dealt. Here we are. This stimulus should go straight to the people rather than being funneled through banks and corporations like this bill is doing. Couldn't have said it any better, guys. I'm going to blow this up so you can actually see it better. Sorry, I'm not really used to these controls. So this thing goes on. Heroic Kentucky Representative Thomas Massie, one of the only men of character in our entire frickin' Congress, bravely stood up against the bipartisan, not $2 trillion, $6 trillion screw job bailout. I like how this guy writes already. Co-opted by InfoWars. InfoWars put this article on their site and they don't even believe it. Screwjob bailout on Friday morning and said the stimulus should go straight to the people rather than being funneled through banks and corporations. President Trump responded by calling him to be thrown out of the Republican Party. That would be a good thing. I wouldn't think that would be a bad thing. Sorry. All right. So here's one of 11. I swore an oath to uphold the Constitution, and I take that oath seriously. Now, guys, we know that the Constitution has been gone for a long, long time. But here's why I bring it up. Because if we just stuck with the first 10 amendments, the Bill of Rights, we would have a way more free country than we currently have. We would not have this centralized Washington, D.C. authority with all this frickin' power, because it would be limited by the chains of the Constitution. And that's what they meant to do, to constrain bankers and to constrain governments with the chains of the Constitution. Well, that didn't work out too well. I mean, we have the Second Amendment, and then they added 20,000 federal gun laws on the National Registry. What good is having a Second Amendment then? Every law you add on to there, it's saying Constitution's null and void. Second Amendment's null and void. We don't care about the Second Amendment. It says shall not be infringed. If it says shall not be infringed, just take it to the bank. Don't add anything else to it. Don't take anything from it. It means what it says. In a few moments, I will request a vote on the CARES Act, which means members of Congress will vote on it by pushing yes or no or present. And you're going to see why he's doing this in a second. This isn't a Q thing. You don't have to go digging and looking through code. It's pretty forthright. The Constitution requires that a quorum or a minimum number of members be present to conduct business in the House. Right now, millions of essential working class Americans are still required to go to work during this pandemic. It's a plandemic. See, that's another thing I disagree with. I don't think we should be feeding into there's this pandemic going on. There isn't. It's a lie. It's a mainstream media foisted lie. The mainstream media is the propaganda arm of the military-industrial complex. And everybody in Congress, the 435 in the House and the 100 in the Senate, the 535, are corporate members that belong to the Title 28, Section 3002, 15A, United States means federal corporation. They're corporate employees looking out for corporate interests, protecting corporate assets, and that means they're going to screw you over. They're not looking out for your interests. So back to the, he says pandemic, such as manufacturing, line workers, healthcare professionals, 3 of 11. Pilots, grocery clerks, cooks, chefs, delivery drivers, auto mechanics, and janitors, just to name a few. Is it too much to ask that the House do its job just like the Senate did? And here's why he's doing that. I am not delaying the bill like Nancy Pelosi did last week. The bill that was worked on in the Senate late last week was much better before Speaker Pelosi showed up to destroy it and add days and days to the process. See, there's some stuff that I'm disagreeing with here, but I'm not going to go over it because it's going to be too lengthy. This bill should have been voted on much sooner in both the Senate and the House. It shouldn't be stuffed full of Nancy Pelosi's pork, including $25 million for the Kennedy Center grants, for the National Endowment of Humanity and the Arts, and millions more. Guys, when they make these laws, and did you see the size of that freaking thing when Nancy Pelosi signed it and then when Trump signed it? The thing is like that thick. It's 1,400. Last I checked, it was 1,409 pages. You know what that reminds me of? It's like, when did the coronavirus start? It started on December 31st, approximately. Okay, coming out of Wuhan, China, from the wet seafood market. Oh, yeah, right. Great cover story. Great cover story. I don't believe one bit of that. So it started December 31st. Here it is, March 29th. They did this 2 days ago. And then they really ramped up, we got a lockdown, quarantine, and all this kind of stuff. So you're going to tell me in 6 to 8 weeks, they created a 1,409-page bill stuffed with all this crap, and it's just ready to go. There it is. They work night and day to pile pages on top of pages. If you've tried to thumb through it and read through it, it's like, oh my God, could it get more complex and convoluted and just... I don't have time. Who's got time to go through this? You're going to tell me every Democratic and Republican senator and congressman looked through that read every single page or had their pages read through the pages? No. Reminds me of the Patriot Act. It took them 41 days to assemble the Patriot Act, and boom, we got the Department of Homeland Security, $53.2 billion a year. We got the TSA, $9 billion a year. They've taken away our constitutional rights through their radiation and molestation practices at every airport across the nation. They had all that stuff ready, man. Charged trial without due process of law? Patriot Act. Was anything more unpatriotic than the Patriot Act? Other measures that have no direct relation to coronavirus pandemic, that $25 million, for example, should go directly to purchasing test kits. The test kit thing, it's follow the money. Who's creating the test kits? How much is the government going to make from it? What CEO is going to take a wild, crazy vacation and add on to his, 3 million houses that he already has, or 20 yachts? Test kits. Give me a break. The number one, and they're so inaccurate from everything that I've read. The number one priority of this bill should have been to expand testing availability and creation of tests. I totally disagree with that. But I want to get down here. This stimulus should go straight to the people rather than being funneled through the banks and corporations like this bill is doing. And then 11 of 11. $2 trillion divided by, and really it's $6 trillion, guys. That other $4 trillion goes straight to the banks, straight to the Treasury on behalf of the Federal Reserve. That's where it goes. And where did that money come from? Oh, that's right. We have to work for the rest of our lives to pay that off. Our children have to work for the rest of their lives. Their children, their children's children, children's children. This is a screw job from the word go. The key point is this. $2 trillion divided by 150 million workers is about $13,333 a person. That's much more than $1,200 per person check authorized by this bill. And then what does Trump do? Looks like a third-rate grandstander named Representative Thomas Massey, a congressman from, unfortunately, a truly great state, Kentucky, wants to vote against the new Slave Our Workers. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say Slave Our Workers? I'm sorry about that. Must have been a little slip. The Save Our Workers bill in Congress. They literally called this the Save Our Workers bill. It so reminds me of the Patriot Act. They called it the Patriot Act like it's supposed to secure your freedoms. Nothing was more unpatriotic and took more of your freedoms than the Patriot Act. How about the Affordable Care Act? Was anything more unaffordable? Do you guys know how much they spent just on healthcare.gov, the website? Look it up. 1.7, not thousand, for a website. 1.7, not million, $1.7 billion. Here, look at this. Let me see if I'm remembering right. It's been a long time since I looked it up. How much was .gov? Where is it? How much is it? Trump says it was $5 billion website. It wasn't that much. It was 1.5 billion, 1.7 billion, something like that. How much did healthcare.gov? How much did? I just want to highlight something here. Yeah, there it is. Can you see that? Look at this. Guys, this is a website. This is why you don't want government. In August 2014, the Office of Inspector General released a report finding that the cost of the healthcare.gov website had reached $1.7 freaking billion for a website. Sorry, I yelled into the microphone. Turn on the gain. A website cost $1.7 billion. And so when they call it the Patriot Act, you know they're going to remove your freedoms. When they give you affordable health care, you know they're going to take more money for you, and health care is going to be more expensive, and it's going to be less. The quality is going to be way less. So you know for a fact when Trump or anybody, Nancy Pelosi, anybody calls this the Save Our Workers bill, it's going to destroy workers, because that's what bills do. They do the exact opposite of what the title says they're going to do. Keep Americans Safe Act. Do you know how they're going to keep Americans safe? By robbing you of your private property and taking your personal protection devices away, because everybody's all scared because guns are what's going to do the killing, right? Save Our Workers bill in Congress. Give me a frickin' break. If that's not a snow job, Donald Trump is snowing you. He wants the publicity. He can't stop it, only delay, which is both dangerous and costly. Workers and small businesses need money now in order to survive. No, you know what they need in order to survive? They need the government to back off and stop commanding them through threats of force to close their businesses and to stay in their houses and to self-quarantine or else. And don't go from New York to Rhode Island, or we're going to pull you over because you have a license plate. By the way, we're going to go house to house. And then suggest that you get these mandatory vaccines with certification like Bill Gates is trying to push down everybody's throat. That's how we can be prosperous. That's how we're going to be surviving. Not with this Save Our Workers bill. It's Destroy Our Workers bill, guys. This is what the bill is going to do. It's going to destroy workers. It's already destroyed. I don't know how many businesses. How many businesses have already gone belly up? Imagine how bad it's going to be in 2 weeks when people get really desperate, because desperate people do desperate things, and that's when riots start. Why do you think they're got trainloads and trainloads of MRAPs and tanks? What are tanks going across the United States for? I thought that you'd think they would be medical supplies or medevac units. They're tanks. How are tanks going to help us be? Oh, wait a second. What are you going to do with those tanks? Where are those tanks going? What will those tanks be used for? It is hell dealing with the Dems. Had to give up it's this dog and pony show. I can't stand it. Had to give up some stupid things in order to get the big picture done. 90% great. Win back. Yeah, what about the other 10%? It's not 90% great, but what about the other 10%? Oh, we won't talk about that. win back the House, but throw Massey out of the Republican Party. And then I want you to see this. John Kerry said, and Trump supposedly hates John Kerry, but it's just like WWE. Hulk Hogan acted like he hated Andre the Giant and the Ultimate Warrior, but they always had beers at the end and split the money and had laughs and were good friends. But on this side of the curtain, they were enemies. It's all a lie. It's all a fable. John Kerry says, breaking news. Congressman Massey has tested positive for being an asshole. Yeah, you're an asshole because you stand for the Constitution, because you stand for individual rights, because you care about honoring your oath to take care of the American people. He must be quarantined to prevent the spread of his massive stupidity. He's giving new meaning to the term masshole. Hashtag masshole. Finally, something the president and I can agree on. So they unite, these wicked people unite against a person who's really trying to stand for freedom. This should infuriate everybody. Everybody in the nation should be on Thomas Massey's side because Thomas Massey stood against the entire horde of political parasites in Washington's District of Criminals. That's exactly what happened. Donald Trump responds, never knew John Kerry had such a good sense of humor. Very impressed. You know what I'm impressed with? I'm impressed with the stupidity and the utter evil that people have in their hearts towards somebody who just wants to do what's right. You know what Thomas Massey was right there? He was anything but a conformist. He actually became, for a moment, in certain parts of his Twitter thing right there, he became a moralist. And that's what the difference is between a conformist and a moralist. And that's the only way we're going to change this world. A conformist does what he's told regardless of what is right. But a moralist does what is right regardless of what he's told. Because the moralist is just there to do what is right. He's not there to impress somebody. He's not there to bow down or to lick somebody's boots or to kiss somebody's ring or to promote somebody as somebody who doesn't do anything wrong ever. Oh, he's playing 4D, 5D chess. Just wait. Trust the plan. A moralist goes, you know what? That's not right. And I'm calling it out right here and right now. It's like they're telling you, the sky's not blue. The sky's not blue. Just wait. You're going to see one day, you're going to see that it's red. It's not a blue sky. It's not green grass. Those clouds aren't white. They're trying to tell you you can't trust what you see with your eyes. They're trying to tell you there is no objective truth. They're trying to tell you we live in a land of relative morality. Morality's relative. Truth is relative. No, it's not. Trump went on to praise Kerry and hail his good sense of humor because he called Massey an asshole. Thomas Massey is the closest man. Thomas Massey is the closest man we've got to a founding father in our Congress. And on this issue, you know, with some disagreements, I, for the most part, agree with his stand about the stimulus package being utter nonsense. And like, if you were going to do a stimulus package, don't give any of it to the bankers. Don't give any of it to the corporations. Yeah, I know. Don't give any stimulus. I agree. But if you had it, then those are the people that need to get it. See, what's going to happen is the corporations, the bankers will get the money first. They'll leave you with the sloppy seconds. And then when you spend your dollar, you're going to have to spend more, shell more of them out to get what you used to get with less dollars. It's called inflation. It's the hidden tax. And that's exactly what what did they call it again? I just got to read this again for a laugh. And then we're going to see what Thomas Massey said about, where is it? Save our workers bill in Congress. You see that? Save our workers. Save our workers because the politicians care. They got him coming out of Congress. Some reporters did. Here's what he had to say.
A minute of your time? Why wouldn't they give you a time on the floor, sir? Congressman, both sides of the chamber didn't cease to let you do this recorded vote.
Well, they didn't even give me a minute to speak in a 4-hour debate. There's a big cover-up in there.
You believe it's a cover-up, sir?
Well, they're trying to cover up their votes. They had enough people there to pass the bill, but they still refused to have a recorded vote. And they told me they were trying to protect members.
Don't you believe that that's the case? There's 435 members in a room that can't hold that many.
No. They're trying to protect the members who are there from political ramifications.
For both sides of the chamber, your side as well as
Okay, you're going to get what he's saying here in a second. Listen to this.
the Democrats, as well as the White House, has said that they didn't want you to do this. Why press forward into a bill that everybody agrees should be passed?
Like I said in there, I came here this week to make sure our republic doesn't die in an empty chamber by unanimous consent. These people need to do their jobs. If they're telling people to drive a truck, if they're telling people to bag groceries and grow their food, then by golly, they can be in there and they can vote. And that's what we did this week. They came, and you can see it didn't delay the vote any. They sat on their cans yesterday here. They didn't do a thing yesterday. They were trying to say this would delay it to have a recorded vote. The truth, if you're willing to report it, is they don't want a recorded vote. They don't want to be on record of making the biggest mistake in history.
There, that's it right there. He wanted them all. The reason he was delaying this thing, and it wasn't really delayed that much, but the reason he was delaying this thing is because he wanted every single one of them to be on record, to be on the hook for being the ones who railroaded this thing into the ground. Because if people start waking up, they're going to be looking for all those names. They're going to be looking for all those people who strung them up and set them out to dry and threw them under the bus. This is a throwing under the bus of all Americans with preferential treatment for the bankers and the corporations who've been constantly abusing us all since their inception. Here's a couple super chats. Bam Bam Niner says, "Hey, Brian, I wish more people were aware of what was going on. Check into the Florida borders having virus checkpoints as we speak." Thanks, man. JC says, "Your only restrictions are the ones you set up in your mind or allow others to set up for you. You are free, so act like it." And see, that's the thing, JC, is we all need to act like it en masse. Because if one of us acts like it, or two of us, or 10 of us, we can easily be picked off. But if we get our communities together, we can stand together, we can literally resist this tyranny. What was the law that they were recently trying to pass? Oh, in France, babe, I didn't tell you this. They were trying to make, they were trying to enact a prohibition law in France. And you know how the French like their wine. It's like, it's a tradition. It's part of their culture. And they rose up against it. Man, if you can hit on something everybody's united on, you can quickly throw that on the politicians. There's nothing they can do. You can throw them down. You can throw them out. You can have your will and your way. Imagine if, let's just say 30%, 20 or 30% of the businesses in your town didn't shut down and they all had each other's backs. It's like it takes bravery to be the first person on the cutting edge. But once that 20 or 30% did it, then 35%, then 40%, it's like, yeah, this COVID-19 is nothing. Yeah, I'm not closing my business. I'm not going to go broke for these people. Screw that. But it's going to take that critical mass of people to get people. Their minds are so entrenched in this cognitive dissonance, in this cycle of doom and gloom and despair that's on mainstream media. And people are really, really worried that they're going to die from COVID-19. And so when people are worried like that, they're just like, they're ready to criticize you and condemn you and call you out and ask for law enforcement to, put shackles on you and throw you into a cage. Homegrown USA says, "Good job, brother." Thanks, man. Liberty Bird, can you talk more about what happened with the Fed and the IRS related to the Treasury? Well, what I'm hearing is, and look, guys, CNBC and CNN are reporting that the Fed, through Trump, got merged into the Treasury. So now the Federal Reserve is nationalized, as though nationalizing anything ever helped the people in the first place. Look at the nationalization of the oil industry in Venezuela. They pinned all their hopes on one commodity like a government would do. And when the oil rates crash, people are in breadlines. So it's like you don't want nationalization. You don't want fascism. You don't want communism. You don't want socialism. So that's the way I understand it. I'm sure there are complexities that I can't wrap my head around. But basically what they're saying is Trump right now is the head of the world, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, so to speak. That's what reports are saying. And here's what I say. If that was true, if you're literally now the leader of the free world, because we know presidents aren't the leader of the free world. They're not the ruler. They're just a puppet on a string, on the Mossad string, on the Zionist International Banking Cartel string, whatever. They're on a banker string. They're on the banker hand being animated by the banker. They're saying what the banker wants them to say. Like Nixon said on August 15th, 1971, we're going to stand against the speculators. And he detached fiat. Well, that's the day that fiat truly became fiat. They detached paper from gold. There was no longer any gold backing. Charles de Gaulle in France goes, ain't having that. Send the ships. Let's get our gold back. Screw that. They're spending way too much on the Vietnam War. There's something up here. They're riding on credit. They're messing with that agreement we had from Bretton Woods. So that's the way I understand it. So if it's true that the Fed's been nationalized, and if it's true that Trump is the head of the Federal Reserve now, then why wouldn't he just go hog wild on the executive orders? I am now hereby eliminating the entire drug war. It's a failure. It's robbing people. I am going to release people like Schaefer Cox and Jeffrey Winehouse and everybody who is in prison for what we call nonviolent crimes, who never hurt anybody, didn't even commit a crime. We're freeing them. I'm eliminating since I'm the king of the world, I'm eliminating the IRS. I'm eliminating, don't even worry about doing your taxes this year, guys. I know April's coming up and you guys are all fretting about it. Screw that. Oh, and by the way, yeah, COVID-19 is a lie. And you guys, let's all go back to work. Let's make this economy strong. But he's not going to do that because he's not the head of the world. And the Federal Reserve whether the Federal Reserve has been nationalized or not, it doesn't even matter. The Federal Reserve is in control. And according to Alan Greenspan, who voiced it in a 2020 interview in 2007, it doesn't matter what the relationship between a Fed chairman and the president are. As long as the executive, judicial, and legislative branch do what we tell them to do, everything's copacetic. It's cool. Because we're in the driver's seat. That's how it's been since 1913, and we ain't going to change. Power concedes nothing, guys. When they grab power, they don't give it back. It's not that easy. You can't just sit there at your desk at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue in the Oval Office and sign this 1,400-page document with this crazy signature and think that you are now in control of the bankers. They control you, Trump. This is crazy. So I don't know if that kind of encapsulates, and I'm at the limit of my knowledge on it, but that's how I understand it. If anybody thinks I'm wrong, I've done a lot of reading on it, and that's what I've come to the conclusion of. If he's the head of the Zionist International Banking Cartel Federal Reserve, then if he was a liberty lover and he holds all the cards and he has command of the Pentagon and the military industrial complex, that's another thing. I'd call every troop home. We don't need to be on 800 military bases in 130 different countries spending trillions of dollars a year. If I was the head of the Fed, I'd be like, you know what? Debt forgiven. Let's go to the national debt clock right now and watch it go to zero. Unfunded liabilities, we're going to fund them. With the liquidation sale we're going to have with the Rothschilds over there in England. Oh, by the way, Queen, I got some words for you. Give all the money back that you stole through the centuries. Armchair Quarterback says, protest your local Federal Reserve Bank. Zen Master Me, thank you. Thank you guys for the super chats. Paul Revere says, volume as low as Nancy's IQ. Oh, is my volume low, guys? Sorry. Can you guys hear me okay? Give me a 5x5 if you can hear my system audio and my mic. Sorry, guys, if I was real low. Fix mic. It's better now. Oh, I had static. Shoot, guys. Sorry about that. It's better now. You're good now. Buzzing and buzzing. It's good. Shoot. I can't hear it in my ear. Volume perfect. Okay. All right. Let me try not to touch my mic. There's feedback for a minute. Shoot. Sorry, guys. I hate bad audio quality. I would not blame people for leaving for bad audio quality. Ballbuster says long battle ahead implies their war against us. Yeah, it looks like the clouds are forming against us, guys, with all this battle equipment making its way on the train tracks across America. Crazy stuff, man. And by the way, guys, if you live in a place where you can record this kind of stuff, let me know. Send it to contact@highimpactflix.com. I'll take a look at it, and we can be the eyes and ears of America since mainstream media is not going to do it. Homegrown USA, the death was heart attack in many cases from intel I'm getting. And some intel that I'm getting, you know, that thing that was circulating on the internet about 2 days ago about ibuprofen? I wonder if there's anything to that. I wonder if there's anything to 5G. Is it really, you know, is 5G killing people? Is this the electronic transfer going on in the airwaves? Is that doing people in? Animal Chin says, the COVID test doesn't work like a drug test. It tests levels. If a level is low, they consider it a positive result. Research how the test works. Yeah, I really should do some research on that. I'm more interested in who's making the money off the test, man. That's all they're doing. Night and day propaganda. Get the test. We need more tests. Run the presses. Close down Ford. Make ventilators. Who's profiting off those ventilators? We know Ford is. Is Raytheon profiting? You know, we need more 3M masks. We need N95 masks. Who's profiting from all that stuff? Let's see. Razor Queen says, just sent a video on Twitter of COVID bodies allegedly being loaded into an 18-wheeler semi-truck in front of Brooklyn Hospital. Yeah, that was sent out by the New York Times today, and I saw that. It's a 48-foot trailer. It's supposed to be a refrigerated trailer that supposedly has bodies in it of people who died from COVID-19. Crazy. That's from Razor Queen. DCN OCI or OC1. It will be nice if the whole government dies. Yep. Blue Collar Gaming. Let's do a podcast tonight. I can't, man. I can't do it tonight. I appreciate it. Blue Collar Gaming's got some good content. Check his channel out. I'm gonna open your channel on another page here. Guys, thanks for bearing with me on the Is the audio better now? Can you guys hear me better? Less or no static? Five by five, good. Thanks, guys. I'm sorry. What I need to do is I need to hook up my headphones into my mic, but then if I do that, then I can't hear the system audio that you guys are listening to when I play a video. Thanks, Blue Collar Gaming. I appreciate the invite, man. I just can't do it tonight or tomorrow because I'm pretty covered up. Max Carter says we were ready for the Purge 3. Yeah, and it makes you think about all those movies, how they're just getting you ready for this. Oh, this the night of terror, the night where anybody can do anything. Jeez, don't you wish on a night like that Nazi Pelosi would come out of the woodwork and try to do something to you? Give you justification to, well, you know what I'm talking about. Driving while black, hilarious. Thank you for your commitment to the truth, Brian. You're an inspiration. Keep up the good work. Thanks, man. That's super humbling. Russell Smith says, 1,884 people in a room. Surely someone in here has a friend or relative who's been affected directly by the bug. Why not ask that question? Okay, yeah, that is a good question. Let me go to back to the chat room. Who do you know anybody directly who's tested positive for COVID-19? And if they tested positive for COVID-19, how do you know they really tested positive? Because they send those tests out. So did you actually see the results of the test, or is it just something you're trusting people to come up with? No. Like, I see a lot of no's. Nope. Any yeses? Nope. No COVID. No COVID. Isn't that crazy? 1,800 people. 1,741. Wow. Oh, yes? Wait. You do? You know? You personally know somebody, Brian? Well, tell me about it on my. Go to contact@highimpactflix.com. Let me know who it was. I think aren't you the one that you left me? Is that the 70-year-old guy? Somebody said there was some 70-year-old guy who's got kids and he knows the family personally. Yeah, there's a lot of just old people. They've already got compromised immune systems. They have pre-existing conditions. It's just crazy how they're just lumping everything into this COVID thing. I heard somebody say today, and I haven't verified this, but if there's a car accident and there's a fatality, they put them in the COVID category to increase the numbers. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know how we would verify that. They test the body or something, do an autopsy. I don't know. And on One News, thank you, Brian, from your Northern Neighbor Canada. Hey, thank you, Anon. John Scott, thank you. Homegrown USA, I have a channel and would work with you anytime. Love your thinking. That's Homegrown USA channel. Thanks, man. Brian Ippolito, I know you're busy, but there's a document you should read. Sorry for being so persistent, but if you have not seen it, you should. A Patreon message. Sorry, man. All right, I'll try to look at my Patreon messages. Sorry. By the way, thanks for all the Patreon supporters, and thank you for, the PayPal. Thank you guys for buying the shirts and the food and stuff. By the way, the food is top notch, really good stuff. Wasabi Ninja says coronavirus patent is U.S. This long number, May 22nd, 2007, created by the CDC vaccine patent. Yeah, I did a video on that a month and a half ago, where I went over that patent maybe 6 weeks ago. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Interesting stuff. Let me refresh one more time so I don't forget anybody in the super chats. Paul Revere and Jay Smith. Trump fooled the American people. Conservatives would be screaming if this was Obama. I say this all the time, man. If Obama did the exact, you would not give Obama the room, the slack, and say that he's engaging in 5D, 6D chess. Just wait. Obama's got this in hand. He's got everything. He knows what he's doing. He can speak well and all that kind of. You never gave him that slack. But now we have Trump beefing up the military-industrial complex far and above what Obama and even Bush did, dropping more bombs, giving more money to the Pentagon, which is part of the military-industrial complex, putting a Zionist international banker inside a Goldman Sachs lifer, basically, and Steve Mnuchin. You saw that video I did the other day, hopefully, on Mnuchin and his background and how he was part of Indy Mac. And then he bought One West. And they were bragging about how they had 35,000 foreclosures. They were writing, 750 contracts or whatever every week. That's 3,000 a month. They were robo-signing stuff. One of the executives said that she was robo-signing to such an extent it would only take her 30 seconds because she whittled down her name to just writing E, just making it an E because her name was Erica. Crazy stuff, man. And we're going to put him in control of $4.2 trillion to trust him to do the right thing with it? Nah, I don't think so. I'm not buying that lie. Remember, those who create the panic are the very ones who end up selling you the pill. It's the problem reaction solution. It's the Hegelian dialectic. They create a problem, or they co-opt a problem that already existed, and then they highlight the problem, and then they use the military-industrial complex lapdogs of the military, the mainstream media, the fake stream media, to highlight that one thing and just bring it out and accentuate it. It's not as bad as it was, but because they accentuate it and talk about it all the time, well, people think, oh, it must be bad. There must be death in the streets. As soon as I walk outside of my house, I'm going to be stricken by this thing, and it's going to kill me and my family. It's going to put my kids in jeopardy. Holy cow. I need to trust the government. I just need to submit. I need to be quarantined. I need for them to ask for my papers. I need them to shake me down. Wow, man. That's where we're at right now. It's BS. All right, I think I covered everything. I will end reading what I started to read from the Declaration of Independence because it's so appropriate. It says, "All experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed." We cannot get accustomed to this present tyranny. We cannot continue to suffer at the hands of tyrants. We can't do it. And what we got to do is we got to unite. We got to come together. It starts with doing what this guy did on the street right here, recording these hospitals. Where's all the people? Where's all the people in these hospitals? Where's all these? Where's the fruition of all these news reports? Where's the reality here? Well, the reality is, looks like the hospitals are empty and the EMTs are just sitting there in their trucks, twiddling their thumbs and straightening out medical supplies. From what I've seen, I appreciate you guys. Man, it's humbling to see how many of you guys are in here right now. I really appreciate it. If we got nothing else, let me see. Let me see if I've hit all the... I think I've... Let me refresh the page one more time for Super Chats, and then if there's no more... Okay, man. Let's see. Oh, wait. Yeah, there's one more person. Wagon Breath says, my electric company sent a COVID email on 3/25, that's March 25th, advising that we should expect to see crews working on poles even as other services are curtailed. Yeah, I wonder what they're going to be putting on those poles. Maybe some 5G technology? I don't know. All right, guys, that's it for me. Appreciate you joining. I will probably have at least one more video going up tonight, and you're really going to want to see it. And I've got potentially a special guest in the next couple of days. You're going to want to hear what this guy has to say. I'll see you guys in the next Heavily Censored